So most likely we can start already. So hello everyone and welcome to the webinar Keep the Business Operating Remotely Guide and Hints from our Chief Operating Officer. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Alina Mironova and I'm Partnership Manager in Kyryk Lab. Today I'm interviewing our CEO and her name is Ivanna Kyryk.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks for joining our webinar today.
Yeah, so before we start, let me say a couple of words on the technical aspects of this webinar. Now I really want to ask you to put plus in the chat section to check whether you can see and hear as well. Hope you can. Yes, I see that people are writing that they can. If you have any technical issues, sound or video, you can always check the settings in the right corner on your board. Check it. Also, in the section of questions, please feel free to write any questions you have or might have when we will be talking, and we will definitely answer all of them at the end of this webinar. And if you missed something, don't worry. If you joined later, don't worry. The recording of the webinar will be sent to all registrants and attendees within the next 2 days. Okay, so let's start. And we will start with, okay, we already can see our presentation. And most likely we will start with the item that everybody is talking about during the last 2-3 months and about crisis, and that the current crisis caused by COVID-19 pandemic affected all of the industries. And now in order to keep afloat, companies have to change their strategies and to adjust to new reality, unfortunately. And it turned out that the only way during this quarantine to stay safe is the remote business operating. Most likely there is no need to tell you about how to do that, while the majority of companies have already done it as a short-term run. But now the main question is, and why we actually started this webinar, is how to keep on doing so in an efficient way on a long-term basis, how to keep and save your resources, employees and customers, and moreover, how to develop in such conditions. In order to answer all of those questions, I asked Ivanna to share her thoughts, and maybe she can give some piece of advice from her CEO's perspective, while she has 5 years experience in managing remote teams far before the crisis and during it. I hope Ivanna can give some examples or guides based on concrete cases from our company and from our company's experience. And by the way, Kyryk Lab has more than 15 years specializing in remote management, as we have 10 offices around Ukraine. So actually we've been doing it before, but now in remote works main part of our team. So we have some experience and hope it will be helpful for you too.
Okay, thank you, Alina. Yes, during the last 2 months, the majority of companies have shifted to remote work. It was the companies which decided not to stop their activity in crisis, but to move ahead. But I believe there is still plenty of open questions which they want to solve in order to improve their work, to tune the processes, to stabilize the operation, or at least to structure the new operation model.
Yeah, you're definitely right. And what do you think? Are there any ground things for efficient remote operations? The things that will help to answer all of those questions?
Okay, I want to tell you the theory. You can find it on the internet in plenty. I will tell you the information based on my project experience and on the experience of our company. So to start with, the main aspects to be taken into account also, by the way, you can see the listing on the slide. Yeah. First of all, the readiness of company and its management to the changes in operation model. Then be sure that you have the trained and experienced managers of all levels from top to learners ones. Third, try to implement control and monitoring methods and fix them. And don't forget to set up time points for them. Then one more important thing, it update your working processes. Believe me, it's really high time to implement new methodologies, describe and realize new procedures for which you didn't have any time before.
Yes, that's for sure. Everybody is starting to do that now.
Okay, yeah. And then fifth, it will be your task number one to keep the team productive in the constant changes condition. The next is improving the quality of projects. Yes, even more in the current situation. And don't forget about the communication with customers and clients. To my mind, it's one of the most important things. I'll talk about this today a couple of times more. Yeah. And finally, try to find new directions for development of your business. Yeah.
Oh God, so many things. Even me working with you all the time, I didn't think that there are so numerous.
Yeah, you are right, but the list I've stated is not comprehensive, believe me.
Okay, please tell us more details on the stated points. So let's start with the number one that you listed on the slide, company readiness. Do you mean infrastructure, servers, internet, communication, channels, right, or something else?
Not exactly. I presuppose that if company is working remotely, now it has already cared for all the hardware stuff. By company's readiness, I meant mind readiness. So the management has to be ready not only to accept the changes, but also to implement them. They must believe in what they do. It's very important.
Yeah,
And
sure.
to make, yeah, and to make the started reality, please make sure that you inform your team about every business matter, on how things are going and on how the crisis can influence and change their workflow. It's very important for your team. That's important in order to be aware of any challenges and extreme work conditions that may be expected in the future. For example, you should define and analyze all your strengths and weaknesses. Any potential risks, I think, and anti-crisis plans should be described and prepared. The mutual communication, including regular updates and feedback, should be organized between the team members and the managers. That's not all, I think. From my experience, also you should care about the regular high quality communication between you and your customers. Yeah, it's very important in crisis to try be constantly in touch with your customers. Take all their needs into account. Yeah, check how their things are going. Provide them with the important information, important updates about you, about your company's current situation, and and any current updates. To my mind, that transparency and regular communication gives confidence in the future for both for your employees and for your customers. Because in the condition of the global crisis, no one knows what will happen tomorrow. That's why it's very important.
I see. So communication, communication, and again, communication on all levels. And thanks God, it's my strong point, and it helps me really a lot. So I totally agree with Ivanna. And you've just said that managers should be ready for changes, and then you said that they should be trained. Isn't it the same? And while if a manager is trained and experienced, he or she is ready for all pits and holes by default, right? Or it can differ?
I think, yes, you are right. This is expected to be that way. But in reality, it's not the same. For sure, the experienced managers are ready to make up non-standard decisions, but not all of them are ready to everyday changes at the global market, especially when the number of projects are closed and the colleagues have no work to do. It's stress for general managers. Yeah. In such situation, managers must be superior, I think. Yeah. First of all, it's very important demand them to be sober-minded. In the current situation, it's the supreme quality of character, I think, which will help not give up to the panic and to make sound decisions. Yeah, I think it depends on the character, and it's very important in the crisis. Then the manager should work with team. Yeah, it's general things, but they have to do it. He or she should motivate and support team. Yeah. Then don't forget. It's one more very absolutely important to close it. One more thing, what is very important, absolutely important, I think, it to close and communicate with other customers. You should be aware of the number of projects that may be lost. It's very important for planning and for managers. Besides, you should improve your project performance, trying to be of help for customer with the resources he requires right now. Okay, it's very important. Then it's important to provide your customer not only with your cover services, do more than that. Very often we assign the project manager to those projects that need additional support. He or she covers not only testing tasks mechanically, she covers whole scope required for the project. For example, communication, additional communication if it needs, documentation, delivery, and so on.
Okay, regarding the last point about such manager, I know definitely that our company has the managers that you described. And Ivana, can we share the information about management structure in our company? It's just for our attendees to understand how one can reach the points what you described.
Yes, Alina, sure. I will gladly share with this information and hope it will be useful for participants. Yeah. So we have in our company, we have Chief Operating Officer. It's me, yeah, who is in charge of the production department in particular. In other words, me or Chief Operating Officer manage all the QA engineers. Yeah, it's so hard work. All engineers in the company. In our department, we have QA engineers that specialize in the testing of different programs. For example, web, mobile, game, automation department, etc. Each of such programs has its manager, program operation manager. Program operation manager is responsible for team development, checking their competence and proficiency of all the QA engineers, cooperating with the program operations managers, cooperating with the sales department due to the processing of new sales segments, and cooperating with the recruiting department due to the team due to the team replenishment, I think, and extension. Yeah. Also, in our company, we have internal project management office. Project management office is monitoring the quality of all our services. This office appoints a manager to each project in order to help all teams to succeed in tasks and communications. The project management office provide our team with all necessary materials and I think, methodological approaches of how to organize work on different projects.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing this so openly. I believe we didn't share some really big secret, but still it's how it works on in our team in Kyryk lab. And so thanks for doing that.
Yeah. Oh, it's not secret. I believe that we should be transparent for our customers. The higher the transparency, the more our customers trust us. Yeah, that is that.
Okay, transparency is the most for sure. So let's go ahead. The next in your list was control and monitoring points and methods. And I thought that it's must have in office mode realities. And especially now, what's the difference actually?
Mm-hmm. But believe me, there is quite a difference. You know, in remote work conditions, the time management is more difficult. Yeah, it's true. Therefore, it's quite useful for install time trackers. According to our company policy, we have a special tool for tracking employees' working time, which they install on their computers and laptops. But the purpose of such measures is not the control our workers completely. It's more about helping them to organize their daily work schedule. I think, yeah, that's about monitoring. And next point, it's reporting. Reporting is very useful and important in our company. In our company, we implemented daily reporting systems that's apart from project stages. It's obligatory, you know, QA engineers of all levels and qualifications report on the tasks they execute during the day. When an employee leaves the executed task, it helps him to analyze his work. It's not exactly about only control, but about the help to the employees with the tasks to solve them difficult when it's required.
As I'm also doing daily reports, I can confirm it, and yeah, it helps a lot, definitely. And that reports that you mentioned are read by managers within the company. But what do the customers see? What reports do you prepare for them now?
The customer sees the project reporting for sure. We customize reporting for our customers in terms of their projects and requirements. We report on the aspects which they're important for them. Someone requires the number of bugs, another one, a percentage of product test cases covered. The third one, charts with monthly, I think, progress reports to show them to stakeholders and to approve the budget for the next period, for example. It's important not only based the project reporting on bare tools, but it's vitally significant to ask the customer which information for the moment is required for him or her. We should be sensitive and listen attentively to the customer. Yeah.
Yes, as a partnership manager, I also confirm it and agree with that 100%. So daily reporting for the company, project operation for the customer, for project reporting for the customer, and attentively listen to the customer's requirements. Right, this is like the main key point that you points that you mentioned. So let's go ahead. You said something about the new methodologies. Most likely it will be really interesting for our attendees. What do you mean by that? What new methodologies did you mean?
The old methods or methodologies aren't working anymore. The conditions have changed. The mode of work has changed, and not all the methods implemented for work in office shared space will work for the remote teams. I now will enumerate some of the most important practices which should be implemented now with your team. I try to enumerate. First of all, I think it's even more communication. Yeah, like I mentioned before, more communication. It's second, more reporting, even more reporting. Yeah.
Reporting.
Yeah, reporting and communication. It's about us. Then team buildings. Yeah, it's still important.
That'd be good.
Yeah, not only reporting, team buildings. Don't forget about it on remote in remote working condition. It could be common topics to raise some hype that will unite the team. Yeah, it's very interesting. The next is try to respond to the problems very promptly. Analyze situations retrospectively, so that more participants could hear about the possible cases and could learn on them and avoid similar situations or problems at their projects. Then I think the company should constantly share the updates with the employees, where we are and where we are moving. And finally, I think try to keep on interacting the team and give them some additional encouragement. It influences the team mood and will bear fruit in perspective. Yeah. Anyway, there should be a maximum engagement of employees into the team activities. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Ivanna. So many things to remember, and I'm so glad that we record the webinar, so everybody can come back and do this record and listen to it once again, and maybe note something for themselves. And okay, in my activity as with my clients, partners, I know that during these tough times, our company and we try to give even more for our customers, as you mentioned before in your approach. So do the same we do. For instance, we met our partners' requests and have paused some projects for quarantine time without any penalties according to contracts. That was really helpful for them according to their feedbacks. And Ivanna, what else do you and your operation project management team do for our customers to militate the difficulties caused by crisis?
Oh, we will do everything. Oh, it's short, but it's very close to reality. One of our program operation managers has said we are very, very patient cuties. Yeah, it's about our management in crisis. And if serious, yeah. Our project management office is actively developing, and now we are ready to help our customers with them management organization. We can also provide consulting services for clients to optimize their development processes and keep teamwork efficient. Give any recommendations that can help customers improve all their inner processes and keep their business in safety. For now, I think it's very interesting and important.
Yes, you're definitely right, and thank you, Ivanna. So much information, and so let me summarize the guys that you said. So our Chief Operating Officer Ivanna believes and strongly advises everyone to make sure that your management is ready for changes, and then it's important to train your management to work with remote teams, even if they can't do it. Just extra training will help. Don't forget to implement monitoring and control instruments. And it's vitally important to communicate with the team, to not and entertain them, to keep their spirit high. And besides, share all information with the employees. Don't allow any information vacuum. So they have to be positive, they have to know where they are going and what to expect from the next day, and to have clear stages of their projects and what they will do day by day. So
Alina, I think one more important thing,
right.
be positive. Yeah, be positive. It's very important approach in the crisis time. Yeah, be positive.
There's always time for something positive, and being negative, you can always do that. There are so many reasons even in good times, but now positive, that's something that like oil that gives us go further and do more and be more efficient. So actually, I'm almost done with the questions that I prepared for Ivanna, and probably now is a good time for your questions. I see that there are already some of the questions in the chat box. Do you? Let's wait a couple of minutes more. Maybe someone has extra questions. Please type your question in the chat box. It should be on your right side on the board panel, and we will see them and answer. So I see. Okay, you can write your questions, and we will start with the first that I see. Ivanna, there are 5 questions for you. I guess now we have 5. How do you train your management?
Oh,
so tricky question.
Yeah, it's a simple question. I think we use general things. We conduct workshops on the most common issues or problems. Also, we hold retrospective meetings, and very important, note all the approaches that we use. Thanks for this, another managers can use these approaches, and use it. Workshops, meetings, retrospectives, meeting, and share information.
Again, a lot of communication we can see here.
Yeah.
Most likely there is no other way to handle all of that issues that most of companies and other teams have. So the next question is, how many managers do you have for remote projects? Ivanna, how many managers do we have?
We try to cover I can say about managers who manage all QA engineers. It's like program operations manager. For now, we have 5 departments: game, mobile, web, e-commerce, and automation department. And we have 2 managers for each department. It's around 10 managers, 10 program operations managers. Also, we mentioned that we have a project management office, and there we have project managers. Also, we try to cover more projects and more projects with project managers. That's why I think in project management office we have around 6 or 7 project managers. Yeah, for now, but we plan growth.
And the next question is quite suspicious. Why do you share information about your project structure? Aren't you afraid of the leak of information? Are you afraid of leak of information?
No, we are open-minded. We are not afraid of the information leak. It's how everything is organized in our company. We have come to this through years and experience. We have a very large methodology space. It will be difficult difficult, I think, for competitors to organize it from nothing, but even in case our example will be useful for them, it's also cool. What about our customers? I think they just need to know how everything works in our company in order to trust us. Yeah, and if they know how we work, they trust us, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from partnership department's perspective, I agree with you, and I can say that not all clients are asking about like our structure, product, how our team structure looks like, but still, after if we add the project managers or QA leads, they really appreciate it and they really like it, and confirm that it improves their processes really good. So
it's also about communication. Yeah.
As usually. So if your customer is not ready to work with remote teams, how do you teach him? So do we teach customers to work with remote teams?
If we talk about remote work, we have been working with customers remotely for over 10 years. The pandemic has not changed our format of working with customers. The situation has been changed only for our employees. They moved from office to homes. Typically, customers are not ready to work remotely because I think they have some fears or have no experience working with remote teams, or they're not sure whether they can control remote workers. In such case, we start working with the customers with a little task so that he can see how we communicate, what kind of reporting we provide, what the results are. When the customer sees all this, his fears disappear and the cooperation turns into long-term one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for sharing. And the next, it's not even not one question, a couple of questions. Who is the project manager in your company? And software development companies have their own managers, and then what your manager does the project with the one from the customer side.
Yeah, you are right. We provide, it is a good question, because we provide only testing, independent testing services, not only full cycle of development, of IT development. That's why our managers differs from the typical project managers, because basically they only manage the testing team. Our managers get involved in the development process and help customers optimize the development process, providing them some recommendations also. Since we have a lot of projects, many projects, our managers can rely upon a very large portfolio of projects and understand which approaches work best. Yeah, our managers manage only the testing team, but they saw a lot of cases, a lot of projects, yeah, and can't find best approaches.
Okay, thank you. And I'm just checking one more time. Those are all questions for today. But thank you everybody for all of your questions, and besides and Ivanna for all of your answers, for sharing your experience, for your advice how you see it, doing it in the proper way. So besides, we want to be useful not only for our customers and partners. By this webinar, we hope that we can help other companies and all businesses that need to guidelines during difficult times. Thank you all guys for attending our webinar today and being with us, sharing your free time with us. We hope it was useful and informative for you. And I remind that we have recording of the webinar that will certainly be sent to you, within the next 2 days. And if you have any additional questions you didn't ask today, feel free to contact us via email, Skype, or our social media. We will be glad to help you anytime. Stay safe and healthy, and goodbye. See you soon. Have a nice evening today.
See you soon. Goodbye. Thank you for joining us today.